Now, I have to warn you, too, because you've had kind of this nurturing environment. Look, everybody's cheering for you. They help you. They go out of their way to be kind. Okay, I'm going to tell you about the real world now with a little story. I have a friend who's a grandfather, has a little 6-year-old boy who's going to transition from T-ball. So he's got to hit the ball with a pitch ball. So Grandpa and the little 6-year-old, they're practicing hitting, pitching, back and forth. Grandpa said, Pat, foul tip 1, foul tip 2. Jimmy throws a third pitch. Strike 3, you're out, Grandpa. Jimmy, that ball was where my head. Little 6-year-old kid says, "Huh, so what can I say? It's a bad call." Now, in life, you are going to have bad calls. And when you have those bad calls, you don't throw a self-pity party. You just accept them and move on. Another story, my wife has 2 little nieces. Another aunt took one of them shopping last Easter for these cellophane wrapped chocolate Easter rabbits. Come back to the house, they take these 2 rabbits, put on a little girl, rips off cellophane, gets chocolate all over her face, all over her new dress, starts making a move for the second rabbit. Aunt says, "Oh, you can't eat that. Belong to your sister Cindy." I already ate Cindy's. So don't think everybody out there is going to have your best interests at stake, okay? Now, because of you're attending Pepperdine, which has this Christian intent and ideals and worldview, you're going to be a lot better positioned to deal with the big 4 issues of life. These big 4 issues everybody has to deal with since the beginning of time. It's very rare you don't see someone dealing with at least one of them. What are they? Fear. Not fear of snakes or falling off high places. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of poor health, fear of financial ruin. Number 2, guilt. Not only things we did, but things we failed to do. If only I'd spent more time with Aunt Tilly before she passed on. If only I'd studied hard in college. If only I had not sold that stock at Toots 120. All these if-onlys and these baggage that we carry around. The third, after fear and guilt, is love. Now, you know a love that Jesus taught, because we see love in our society on the TV. Man says, "I love this woman." He loves the woman the same way he loves a dish of ice cream. He doesn't want to give his life to it and commit to that. He just wants to enjoy it. But what did Jesus, what was his definition of love? And this stunned me when I first heard it. Love is not an emotion. Love is not an emotion. It's an act of the will to want something for someone or to do something for someone that is that person's best interest without expecting anything whatsoever in return. That's humanly impossible, isn't it? Unless you have a spiritual firepower within you to do that, that's humanly possible. Lynn and I burned out 5 sets of counselors in our marriage, and we had this wrong idea of marriage. I kind of had this idea. I said, "Look, honey, I bring home the bacon, you keep the sock drawer filled, and don't burn the toast." And it wasn't really based on the love that Jesus taught. Now, I want to move into something that's really a few key things. One, think small. I've seen so many people start firms that get a whole bunch of analysts, big office, and they're going to just take over the world. Think small. I was told if I start investing for the butler, the maid, and the chauffeur, soon I'd be investing for the master of the house. And so start small. Think small. Secondly, if at first you don't succeed, find out what second place is worth. Second place ain't bad. There's only one Tiger Woods, but there's probably 50 other guys who are making a good life. So don't be so intent of comparing yourself to everybody else lest you become vain or bitter. God calls us to do our best, and he'll decide where that puts us in the pecking order. But don't be discouraged that there's someone better, and don't look down on the people below you. You just do what God asks of you, and you're going to be just fine. As I mentioned earlier, make sure you consider other people important. And be more intolerant. Tolerance has been thwarted to a wrong word. It used to mean you agree one way, I agree another way. We're opposite poles, but we'll get along. Now there's a group of people, maybe the secular Taliban is a good name for them, have morphed this idea that you have to accept my values being every bit as cherished as your values. That's not tolerance. Tolerance does not hate evil. Tolerance does not love good. Tolerance champions no causes. Lord Chesterton said, tolerance is a virtue for a person with no conscience. Think of the intolerance of Rosa Parks says, I'm not going to let you tell me to go to the back of the bus anymore. Think of the intolerance of Susan B. Anthony, who says, I'm not going to tolerate you not letting me vote. Regardless if you're on the Boy Scouts or the gay community, think of the intolerance of the gay community that has not accepted the law of the land that says Boy Scout leaders can be chosen on any basis the Boy Scouts of America decide, and their intolerance has knocked Boy Scouts out of public schools, out of forests, out of public forests, out of United Ways. So think of the power of intolerance and know what to tolerate and what not to tolerate. There are too many things in this world which we sit back and we tolerate. Tolerance is a virtue for a person with no conscience. So think small. Find out what second place is worth if you don't succeed at first. Consider other people more important than yourself. Be more intolerant. And love God. Let me conclude with a statement from some of you probably never heard of. This guy's the President of the United States back in the 30s, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. But I'll just bring you up to date on your history here. Elected 4 times President of the United States. Quote, on a radio address, 1935, "We cannot read the history of our lives and the development as a nation without recognizing the place the Bible has occupied in shaping the advancement of a republic. Where we have been the truest and the most consistent in obeying its precepts, we have obtained the greatest measure of contentment and prosperity." Fellow classmates, God bless you.